Hello and welcome. My name is Mey-Ling Perez. I serve on the board of Autism Speaks South Florida. And our signature event this year is our Gala, Light Up the Night, which is coming up October 11th, just about a week away. One of our most important moments of this night is the fact that we're bringing the community together for inclusion. While we're supporting awareness, we're supporting advocacy, and we're supporting services and resources for families and individuals on the spectrum. This night, we're also honoring someone very important and very dear to us, the late Tom Whitehurst, his family, and Casa Familia. This honor is due to the impact that they've had on this community, and we're truly just so blessed to be able to do this. Joining me today, we have 3 individuals that are going to share a little bit more as to what to expect on this night for the guests, for those of us that are watching, and then someone that would tell us a little bit more on the inspiring story of this family that we'll be honoring on October 11th. Welcome, Jackie Fernandez and Carlos Fernandez, co-chairs of the Gala for a second year in a row. And welcome, Tracy Mourning. Thank you for being here as a board member of Casa Familia.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So to give us a closer look at the Gala, Carlos and Jackie, maybe we could start with you a little bit. There's a lot of organizations in South Florida. So why Autism Speaks?
I think for Jackie and I, it was the first thing we looked at was the depth and the breadth of the organization and the impact that it makes, not only in South Florida, but how they make the impact. It's advocacy, it's educational, support for both, parents, families, people that are impacted, impact of investment in research. And so it had a much broader and deeper perspective and contribution across all the markets that they serve. And that was very appealing to us because there are some areas that maybe don't have as much support that need the support. And we deeply believe in giving back. So we feel a very deep responsibility to give back to the communities that have given so much to us. And so we felt that was giving a maximum contribution across a much broader geographic area with areas in need.
Thank you. So now I know being involved in a not-for-profit, being on a board, and sharing a gala takes a lot of commitment, a lot of long hours, possibly some sleepless nights that we were just discussing. You're doing this for a second year in a row.
Yes.
Where is your commitment to the autism community coming from? If you could tell us a little bit more.
Our heart, honestly. So we knew early on that our oldest son was on the spectrum. We really weren't sure what that meant, what it meant for him, what it meant for us as a family. And we really relied on our community. And Carlos and I have always been really deep-rooted in giving back. Mm-hmm. And so when you give back and you also have your heart attached to it, there's just all good things can come from there. With my event planning background, it was a very good fit for me to be chair. I had never done anything like this before. So I'm really excited to do it with my husband again as co-chair for the second year in a row.
Yeah. So you did an amazing job last year.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to this year as well.
Thank you.
It's the right person for the job, definitely. Tell me a little bit more. You have a creative background.
Me too.
You have an event planning background. I know this year's theme is unique.
Very.
It's about individuality, but also community coming together.
Yes.
So what inspired you to pick this theme? Tell us a little bit more as to
believe it or not.
Let me start with this. There's a funny story.
Please.
So she was struggling with trying to find the theme and how she was going to kind of frame this out.
Well, start with the fact that last year we themed it Light Up the Night, and that's what this gala is now called. Mm-hmm. And then I just wanted to do it in a different way.
So she's going days and weeks trying to figure out how she's going to align all these things, and everything makes sense, but it doesn't quite align. And so I'm playing with our son and the other side of the house, and she says, "I figured it out." She starts writing. We're going to do... She'll talk about it.
That moment.
Yes, and I just came out of nowhere. It's a Saturday afternoon.
He looked at me, he's like, "What?
What were you doing? That you just came up with this, and all this time and thought, and
That's how my brain
and doodling, and she figured it out completely random. It was very exciting. It's a great,
I still am.
It's a great idea.
I still am. So it's a Disney movie called Encanto. And it is very different that a gala for adults would be themed after a movie geared to children. But to me, I look at Encanto, and it is not only a humongous celebration of how a village does come together and a community comes together for a family in need, but how every child and every person in that family has a unique gift. And we know that autism is not a disability, it's a unique ability. And we like to celebrate those milestones, we like to celebrate those abilities. And we are, as the autistic community can tell you, all of our children, we want to put them in a position to succeed, whatever that looks like. And there is no more beautiful movie that shows that. Another thing is, when we first found out and we heard the word autism, it shattered us. We didn't know what that meant. And like Bruno, no one wants to talk about Bruno. But when you realize that autism is just a word that goes with some symptoms and some problems that kids have that can have a protocol that will find their way, and you feel more confident in it. Yeah. You actually love it because it is unique. It unifies your child, and it brings your family together and other families together that we would have never met had it not been for our son's diagnosis. So not only that, but we've been able to help so many people in the community and get his story as a success story out there, our story as a success story as a family. So I figured, when the deeps of it, you feel like your house is crumbling down, is the scariest thing in the world. And when you get your family and your support system and your therapy team together, you start building that up to a stronger, more foundation. And then the whole community rallies around you, and you're not alone. So that was the theme of overall theme of Encanto and the meaning of it. The light up the night is the candle that keeps La Familia Madrigal together and the house together. And the candle symbolizes the light that us as a community bring to the children that need advocacy, that don't have a voice, or their voice isn't being heard correctly because they have a hard time communicating. Yeah. And we know what that's like, right? You have a 5-year-old who can't speak, who's crying, you don't know what's wrong with them. But now we know that we're not only his advocate, but advocates for a lot of families and children and adults that can't advocate for themselves. So that's kind of where that came from.
So that's absolutely beautiful. I think it takes a village. So I'm glad that you've rallied your village. And that's really what we try to do also with Autism Speaks, just rally a village around the family. Right. And I have watched the movie, and I like anything that has color and music. Yes. So I'm really excited about it. Yes. Is there maybe, without spoiling too many surprises, something else that you want to highlight about the gala coming up on October 11th that those that are attending, or maybe the folks that are listening and watching us, could look forward to?
Yes. Without getting too much, I have a lot of things going on with the event. But I can tell you, from the time you walk into the ballroom, you will feel the love and the support and the community that the autistic community has together, but you will feel the emotion several times throughout the night. It will hit you hard, even if you don't know anybody with autism, and not in the most joyous, celebratory way, but we have a lot of surprises that are going to be a little different than what you may see at a gala, that will signify how we do light up together as a community for our children and our families that are affected with autism.
Well, I'm excited. I think in everything that we do, it takes a lot of heart.
Yes.
It takes a lot of heart to do things outside of your job and your family, and we live in such a busy world. And this is a great segue, because one of the most important and meaningful moments of the night is when we honor our Family of the Year.
Absolutely.
And this year we are honoring the late Tom Whitehurst, who I had the pleasure to know, his family, and Casa Familia. And I think both Autism Speaks and Casa Familia have a lot in common. And Tracy, I know you've been involved now with Casa Familia for a few years. You've seen it transition over time. For those who are listening and watching us and may not know what Casa Familia is, could you maybe tell us what Casa Familia is?
Yeah, Casa Familia, it's a blessing from God, like you all as well. Tom Whitehurst and his amazing wife, Miss Marie Eileen Whitehurst, and Miss Karen came together because of their children who are on the spectrum as well. And they thought about it like, what's going to happen to our kids when we're no longer here? Where are they going to live? And my boss, my daughter is on the spectrum. She just turned 25. And I think about what you say, in the beginning, you're lost. You have no idea what's going to happen, and you don't think about everything. And for them to think of this as they grew older, it's really a question that all parents have, like what's going to happen to our children. So Casa Familia is an amazing project that's taking place in Kendall, and it's exceptional housing for exceptional children. And it's affordable housing for kids like ours so they can live independent. A lot of times, I know for me, I pray to God that I'm with my daughter for a very long time. We all want that for our children, but to have a place where they can go and live independently, because we want to be with them all the time, but they still have their own desire to live on their own. And Casa Familia is an opportunity to provide that safe space for them. It's a assisted living facility. They can live either independently if they're functioning in that way, or they can have someone with them in their own unit. And what's so beautiful about it, the space, the acres that were given to Casa Familia in Kendall, everything's around it. There's opportunities for them to work. There are places where they can really thrive as individuals. And it's such a blessing. And the Whitehurst family, what a gift to all of us for them to have the courage to do that. They started at their kitchen table, just like this, sitting around. And, most great ideas start at tables. Where you get together and you really have to come up with a plan. And, when you mentioned how the idea for the gala, how it just came to you, I'm a witness to that. Like God speaks to you. God places things on your heart and you're like, you just say it and it comes out. And you just have to trust that when God gives you something, you might not know how it's going to get done. They didn't know how it was going to get done. They had no idea. But when God gives you something, you have to trust that God's going to make a way. And because of amazing individuals that have come together to be a part of this great project, we just had a board meeting, the first board meeting where our founding father, Tom Whitehurst, was not there, the very first one. But to see the individuals that, because of their passion and their drive and their desire for their child to have a safe space to live, all of the people in that room, some really dynamite individuals are around that table. Because, as parents, we know you can't do it alone. Yeah. And for a very long time, you feel alone when you're having to learn new languages and new therapies. And it's like, what? Like, God, I didn't sign up for all of this. I don't want to know all of that. But, our children are our greatest teachers. And, I've been blessed with 3 amazing children, but I can tell you that my boss, my daughter, Micah Sydney Mourning, is my greatest teacher. And like I said, she teaches me things I don't even want to know. I didn't want to know about autism. I didn't want to know about certain therapies, but, our children have a way of making us better. And that's what is happening with Casa Familia, because our children, everyone in that room who's contributing, and everyone at this gala and at Autism Speaks, everyone who stands up and speaks for our children who can't, like you said, do it for themselves, but we soon find out their voices are bigger than anything. And, when you truly have a passion to serve and to give back, God always makes a way. I'm such a witness to that. And the Whitehurst family, can't thank them enough. So well deserved. In Casa Familia, the leadership is incredible.
There's just something beautiful about putting your heart into everything that you do, and it sure sounds like you are doing that. This month, it's a big milestone, right? We have the first residents moving in.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit.
In November, it's like 3 separate buildings, different phases. And this November, we have our first residents. that are getting their own place. And, it's all happening in phases. So by the end of, I believe, next year, all 3 spaces will be complete, or 27. And it's God, like going past that place. I remember, the first shovel going into the ground, but like to see it really
come to life.
It's amazing. And so it's like kind of sending your kid off to college, where you take them and you get them set up in their own place. And, I would just ask for the audience and people who can hear about this to pray for Casa Familia, pray for the families, because when you do send your kid off to college, I've been blessed to be able to do that. It's nerve-wracking, but to be able to send your kid off to live on their own, that's still nerve-wracking, So pray for the families, that have the courage to surrender and let go and trust that, they have all the tools they need to be successful. So yes, this November, we're
very excited for everyone at Casa Familia. I mean, I believe Tom was a visionary. I also believe he was a very kind man.
Yeah.
So how would you describe the legacy that he is leaving behind as you guys open your doors in a month?
Well, the legacy, it continues. When people talk about leaving a legacy, what comes to mind for me is service. At the end of the day, we're all here to serve in some way, shape, or form. We've all been blessed with, especially living here in South Florida, we are very blessed in so many different ways, but our legacy is what is left behind when we're no longer here. And the legacy that Tom has created, and we know, I know you men are very powerful and great and good at what you do, but it's Miss Marie Eileen as well, and Miss Karen as well, the women in this world, the mothers, that really, and I know there are fathers that do the work as well, and the mothers that pour into this and follow up and make sure things get done to ensure that our children are successful. It's such a team effort. So this family truly deserves this honor. And thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. We want to close on, maybe for those that are listening to us, what do you want to tell the folks who will be coming to this event, maybe the ones that can't make it this year but would love to come next year? Any message that you want to leave the audience with?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would say is I think what you hear from everyone in this conversation is there's a deep interest in solving problems, right? And trying to be helpful and give back. But it starts with people trying to address the vulnerability. And oftentimes people don't want to express those things. For most of us, everybody stays quiet. You don't know what you don't know. You learn. And as you learn and try to understand, you keep it to yourself. And throughout the last 2 years that we've been involved with chairing the gala, what I've learned is the more people I've spoken to, the more people have been impacted by the spectrum.
Yeah.
And the more people want to get involved, just didn't want to take that first step because they didn't want to show weakness or they didn't want to show vulnerability.
Well, it's scary.
It's incredibly scary. But I think the message I would say is, I think people need to be more open to expressing what their vulnerabilities are related to the spectrum or anything else for that matter, so that they can either provide help or get help. And as they start doing that, you will see the community continue to expand and get closer, which is very special and rare to see. So I think my message is come and have a great time. Be open-minded about what you're going to experience. It's going to be very, very fun, but ask how you can help. And for those that are, being a little bit more reserved, take the chance, create some vulnerability yourself, ask for help, and share your stories. Share your stories.
Absolutely.
Jackie, any message that you want to?
I would say, not everybody knows how to help. And I think that that's, there may be somebody, like just in this table, we have 2 bankers. And you'd be like, if I'm a banker, how can I really help an organization? You absolutely can help. If you're an event planner.
Yes, you can.
So you absolutely can help. So if you can help by going and attending, that's amazing. That would be great. We would love to have you. But if you can help with your time, if you can help with, if anything that you may have a hobby on, you don't know. Yeah, absolutely. You don't know how you can help, and time is better. And there is strength in numbers. And I feel like when you have an organization and there's more people that back that organization with their time, their effort, just by saying, I'm here for you, how can I help you? We can make a difference the majority of the time when we're all together, right? So the more people we have, the more we can create that village, and it does take a village. So the bigger our village, the more we can do, the more impact we can have on the children and the families and the young adults who are going into adulthood looking for a workplace to be at, and they are having challenges, and to know that there is hope and we are here for you. So just the more people that we have with us, the better it'll be.
I love that. I think there's just so much magic in stories and how things just become so intertwined. I think in the years that I've been on the board, every single interaction, there's just a lot of magic. That's really, and heart. And, you mentioned God being present. And I think there's just a lot of that when people come together.
Yeah. And, we always look at those hard moments, like you mentioned, when you first get that diagnosis, you have no idea, what's going to happen, or you don't have answers. But I believe we're all witnesses that there are no mistakes. God works everything out. I'm at this table because of my daughter. You're at this table because of your baby as well. And God uses everything to change lives. So, thank you to Autism Speaks, for having the courage to speak. The name says it all, because it's scary for parents when you don't know. And when you realize you're not alone in this, it makes all the difference in the world.
So we've talked a lot about inclusion. We've talked about collaborating. We have here 2 great organizations making a difference in this community. Talk to me about what you feel about different organizations coming to the table to have a conversation for the betterment of this community. Jackie, maybe?
Yeah, sure. Start? Absolutely. I think there's a beauty in organizations that all have the same idea and the same heart, and we're all serving the same community. When we get together, we can do bigger, better things. And it's not about, because this organization does that and we do this. No, everybody's together, all helping the same community. Let's form a bond and let's help each other. We can refer to Casa Familia. Casa Familia can refer to our autism response team. And there's other organizations that are doing amazing things in our community and in communities around us. And I feel like there's a need for that community around the world, especially when it comes to our families and our children, keeping them safe in a fostering environment in which they can succeed, and we're all working together. I think there's no way we can go wrong, right? So I think it's a beautiful thing, and I thank you for being here, and I'm so excited to honor Tom Whitehurst and Casa Familia and to form that bond, and for that bond to be stronger so we can do better things together.
Amen. On behalf of Casa Familia and the Whitehurst family and everyone who was around that table from the very beginning and everyone who's around the table now, it's truly an honor to be a part of this. So thank you.
Absolutely.
The honor is ours. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Jackie, for being here with us today. The gala coming up on October 11th and Casa Familia have a lot of things in common. We want inclusivity. We want to make sure that everybody who comes to the table, like we did today, to have a conversation, to feel welcome. We want to provide hope, and we want to provide opportunities for the families. I am very excited to hopefully see every single one of you on October 11th. And if you can't join this year, please, we welcome you next year. We welcome you to donate. We welcome you to learn a little bit more as to what you could do in this community. I am Mey-Ling Perez. Thank you so much.